No, listen, in all seriousness,
Rangers are lucky to have him.
I said last week the Rangers fans should be grateful that Philippe Clement hung around in the summer, because I've said it many times, the goalposts were moved. I think promises were probably broken. I think you probably had the chance to leave. And when you look at Rangers' budget,
If they'd moved the goalposts at the weekend, some of the 30 shots might have went in.
Might have, aye. Need rugby posts, I think. So the restraints that were kind of put on him, the changes that were, the conditions that he worked under, I said last week, I don't think any Rangers manager in the club's history has had to put up with that. And I stand by that. However, there's obviously a massive caveat, and that is a Rangers manager cannot lose must-win games. They cannot lose against lower league opposition in the cup at home when the cup's your only chance of silverware. And I think Sunday, unfortunately for Philippe Clement, Sunday crossed a line with Rangers supporters. Any support that he did have, and I think a lot of them, were clinging on to this kind of big picture idea. I think they were delighted to get in the top 8 of the Europa League straight through to the last 16. I think they could see in the likes of Egaman and Jeffy and even Raskin and Inciala and people like that, they were almost prepared to kind of look ahead and look to that kind of big picture and think the future might be a bit brighter. But there's just no coming back for that result on Sunday, I don't think. If I'm being honest, I'm surprised he's still in a job just now. And that was me saying a few weeks ago that I fully expected him to be in until the end of the season. But
7 days ago.
But you cannot underestimate the size of that result. And also, I don't think Clement helped himself again. Not just in terms of the team's performance. The players let him down, not for the first time, but it was him that put them out there. A few of his changes or a few decisions he made, especially, Keith spoke about it earlier, taking Yanis Hadji off when he's your most creative player and probably the best chance at a goal.
And he seemed to make that decision in anger.
Yeah.
And that would worry me.
After a misplaced pass.
That would be one of the most concerning things. If I was in charge of deciding, do you stick or twist with this guy? If I see a manager on the sidelines making decisions based on anger, and bad decisions based on anger, making the wrong decision based on anger, then I don't know. That would need to, and that feeds into what is being described now quite rightly, probably as the worst result in Rangers history.
Yep.
And you're looking at your manager making decisions which are contributing to that. Then I don't think there's really a decision left to be made at boardroom level. It astonishes me that here we are. And by the way, do you know who's the best time of this since Sunday? Well, I don't know, but I'm assuming that they still pay the guy that handles the Rangers Twitter account. Not a post since Sunday. It's just gone radio. Says, take a couple of days off, son. Paid leave. The silence is absolutely deafening.
Yep.
And I don't know, Scott, I think you're probably more plugged into this than me, but I actually think this silence, where the Rangers fans were already angry, I can feel anger levels getting... Yeah. They're actually... The fact that nobody has come out to speak to them, to show any sort of leadership or direction at this moment of complete and utter crisis, yep, I think just takes a bad situation and injects steroids into it.
It's incredible that Patrick Stewart or Fraser Thornton hasn't come out and spoke after the weekend and tell fans. And by the way, see if that's telling fans
we're sticking,
we're standing by him, then so be it.
Well, see on that,
explain why.
On that, Scott, look, we've had this comment and we got sent in a few times last night and I didn't read it out because it might just be one of those apocryphal rumours, but Patrick Stewart got caught in hospitality after the game. He told fans that Clement will be judged by the end of the 2026 season. I've seen that 3 times now. Whether or not that's true, right, and it might not be, the fact that things like that can spread and grow because no one's saying anything is quite damning. I mean, and as well, Paul here saying if Rangers lose Tynecastle on Sunday, there's going to be 250 fans at the next home game, the way things are going. And just simply saying you've got to wonder what the board's thinking. It is crazy. It feels like
you've got to wonder what they're thinking because they're no telling.
Exactly.
The fans have had enough, Daniel. I mean, I know that might sound obvious, but after Sunday, I think it's gone to a new level. No, and by the way, it's not just the actual result on Sunday. It's that no, these fans can't take any more humiliation. I don't think. I mean, the rivals on the other side of the city are laughing at them. I mean, the Scottish Cup. If Rangers had won the Scottish Cup this season and got to the last 8 of the Europa League Cup final, defeat on penalties, and granted, no, far behind Celtic in the league. Not saying they'd have been happy, but they would have looked at it and says, right, okay, Clement starts the next season. There's enough there to think.
Enough there to make an argument for
him. It might be getting a bit better. That has gone now. I mean, that has completely gone.
But see, even on that as well, Keith, I wanted to kind of, you made a point last night that's been playing on my mind. I mean, John says here the Rangers team should have come flying out the traps on Sunday knowing that it was virtually their last chance of silverware instead of progression. The point you made just there, Keith, was about the fact that when did it become acceptable that, look, if you can still win the Scottish Cup, that's enough? I remember seasons where it was like, oh, they can only
that's a sacking offence.
Aye.
In the environment where we all live in Scottish football, for Celtic and Rangers, it's a perennial 2-horse race for whatever silverware's available. And it used to be, not all that long ago, that if one of those managers come out at the end of the season just holding a Scottish Cup, he's got a real problem on his hands, trying to justify his position for the start of the following season.
But this is a disease, Daniel, that has riddled Rangers for far too long now, this acceptance of second best. And I said that last week, I said it this week as well. And if the board don't make a decision on Philippe Clement now and he stays in the role, I would ask, what message does that send to the players, especially the young players? No, you like your Jeffties and Egamans and Bailey Rices and Raskins, people like that. If you basically send out a message to these players that losing to Queen's Park at home and going out the Scottish Cup
doesn't
another
carry
season,
a consequence. If
there's no consequences to that, then I'm sorry, you've got a problem for the next 3, 4, 5 years, because if they think that's acceptable, no, that's no Rangers. That Rangers can't operate like that. And that's why I think there's obviously massive pressure, and that's why we're so surprised that they've not come out and said it.
You're right, it's about addressing the whole culture. But the whole culture has, and Rangers play second fiddle on just about every level compared to Celtic, from the boardroom down. They're just getting beaten at every turn in every department of the football club.
Yep.
And that's where they're at. And that's why I've been saying for some time, something really fundamental is going to be required to have any chance of even getting close to a level playing field. But the kind of way it's tilting just now is just they're playing up the side of a mountain.
And listen, I feel for Clement. I'm going to stick up for him slightly, Daniel, just to kind of cover myself for last week's column. But as I touched on, I think he's been more harshly treated than any Rangers manager, certainly in my lifetime, in terms of what he's had to deal with. You think back to the start of the season, getting hit with the whole Ibrox shambles, and then getting told the budget's cut and he's got to get rid of big earners and sign guys cheap. Even in the January window, not being able to bring anybody in.
And then the sports scientists demanding to pick the team.
Right.
I mean, it's what a hard shift the guys had.
Couldn't they afford Lyle Cameron in the January window? I mean, we're talking about potentially sacking Philippe Clement. There's figures being bandied about what it's going to cost them. I mean, how are they going to pay for that if they can't afford 200-300 grand maybe to get Lyle Cameron in?
So this is a thing. This is a thing, right? This is a, because we see the comments coming in. Celtic fans are convinced that the only reason that Rangers are stuck to this is they're tethered to Clement because they simply don't have the cash to make the change. That they're already paying for 2 previous disastrous managerial appointments, people still on gardening leave, and that the money is simply not there, which means that Rangers just have to bite their bottom lip and go on with it.
I also wonder...
Rangers say that's not the case.
Yeah.
But where are you on that?
I was just going to say, just kind of on that point, I also wonder, and I don't know what you think of this, Philippe Clement always sounds very confident that he won't lose his...
He's Teflon. He's totally Teflon.
That makes me think, have certain assurances been made at the start of the season. Have promises been made given the circumstances in the summer? So is it almost like a kind of gentleman's agreement that nothing happens until the end of this season? I mean, that it would surprise you in modern football if that. Something like that was in
even
place,
if there was
but-
some sort of verbal agreement in place, you would have to say that, you know,
what
we
point is
reserve
the point? I
the
know
we
it's
reserve
not-
the right
yeah.
to make a change of heart
Well,
if you get beat at home by Queen's Park in the Scottish Cup.
Patrick Stewart did say in his media briefing no one was safe.
He
didn't
couldn't
No
give a
one was
guarantee, he
guaranteed.
said.
Yeah,
But here we are.
I know.
It's Tuesday night. This happened on Sunday. There's going to be no change ahead of the weekend. And so what if Rangers go and get beat with Hearts at Tynecastle? If you're not going to bullet a guy for losing at home to Queen's Park and losing your last chance of silverware, you ain't going to bullet him for losing 3-0 to Hearts at Tynecastle. So
Fair point.
on and on it goes.
And look, if the board have decided we are sticking with
Come out
this
and
guy
say
no
it.
matter
Tell the
what,
fans.
because
Come out and say
this is a project. We got him in a long
Roll up for next season tickets under Big Phil.
That's a problem. That's a problem. But if they feel no, we are sticking to our guns. We've sacked too many managers. It's a long-term project. He's added value to the squad with his recruitment, which is undoubted. With Jeff the Eager Man or whatever. Here's the reasons why we're sticking by him. Fans won't be happy with it, but at least come out and say it.
And be honest with them.
You'd almost admire.
Be honest
them.
with them.
Exactly. You'd almost admire them for saying, "Well, look, they're sticking to their guns."
A bit of transparency, a bit of openness, and a bit of honesty.
Yeah.
At this point in time, after the humiliation and all the ordeals the Rangers supporters have been through, that is actually the very least that they deserve or that's required from the people that are in charge of the club. At the very least, all the suffering, all the kind of pain of these defeats, all these years of underachieving, the very least is that they should be spoken to like adults and told the truth
Because as you
and
say,
not kept in the dark.
season tickets are up for renewal, I think, in 2 months, about 8 weeks' time. I think crowds are dwindling already.
Oh, they
At
are.
Ibrox, you can see it. And that's only going to get worse if in the next couple of months, if Clement's still in a job and the results.
But the only way that you keep attendances up now, because bear in mind you've got, is it 3-4 months now of domestic football that doesn't matter.
Yep.
None of these games matter. Not a game of any consequence.
No.
So of course that's going to impact on the attendances. Of course it is. People are going to go away and they'll find other things to do on a Saturday afternoon. The only move that I can see that's available to the board right now is to make a change, say, here's my new guy, this is why we've brought him in, and try and get behind it and see, and is this new guy, is it different? Is this more attractive football? That'd keep your attendances up.
Yep.
If the Rangers fans were given a reason, I keep referring to them now as Jam Tomorrow FC because that's what they are, but it would be another example of that. But if the Rangers fans ain't daft. They'll turn up and they'll get behind it if they think, oh, this is going to work. This is more progressive. This is positive. There's something to get behind here. But there's nothing to get behind. They're just watching a lame duck waddling towards the finishing line
I
here.
just wonder where they go, Jacko, though, if they do get rid of him. Because if finances are as tight as we're saying they are, it's going to cost them more money to relieve Clement of his duties. How do they go? How do they attract a manager, certainly a foreign manager, that's got a better pedigree or a better CV than Clement?